On the way in, he was under full control. He touched down right where he wanted to. He rolled out under complete control and came to a stop right where he wanted to. On the way out, he lost his engine, but he maintained control. He flew the airplane right down to the emergency landing and stuck with it all the way through. He never gave up. Hey, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you here. You know the basic deal. Click like, subscribe to the channel, and prepare to leave a comment because I guarantee you're going to have an opinion on this one. One of the most worrisome things a single-engine pilot has in the back of their head is the possibility of an engine failure, especially when they're low and slow and the last of the runway is behind them. Kind of like this. That is Ben Kairys, or maybe it's Kairys. I'm not sure. I've never heard it pronounced. I've only seen it written. But that's Ben flying a Kolb Firefly, experiencing an engine failure at the worst possible time. And he handles it beautifully. You can find this full video at youtube.com at bkairys. I'll leave a link in the show notes. It's well worth watching. He does a great job with this entire video and the explanation. Now, it is worth noting, Ben is a private pilot with a glider rating. He actually has a fair amount of training, and the way he handles this situation really speaks to that. His level of professionalism under real pressure, just unparalleled. The airplane he's flying is a Kolb Firefly. It's a Part 103 ultralight. It runs a Rotax 447 engine, so that's got 40 horsepower. It only burns about 3 gallons an hour. This is a really popular type of ultralight aircraft. Now, some people don't like two-stroke engines. I'm personally not a big fan. They're very inexpensive. They're easy to work on. The challenge with them is they have a little bit of a higher failure rate than four-stroke engines. That's kind of beside the point. The fact is, Ben's been flying this airplane with this engine for about 5 years, and it's performed well for him, except for this instance. Fortunately for us, and anyone who wants to learn from this very unfortunate scenario, Ben had mounted a GoPro 360 to the front of the airplane. We get to see not just what happened, but we get to see how Ben reacts to it. How does he handle the situation when just 40 or 50 feet in the air, the engine starts to wind down and the idea that he's going to lift off and climb into the sky dissipates to nothingness in just a matter of a second or two. One of the things Ben does so well is not even attempt to save the airplane. He accepts what's happening. When reality slaps you in the face, just deal with it. And he does it beautifully. I'm so impressed that at a really high stress moment where everything seemed to be going well, everything fell apart quickly. And Ben makes the conscious decision, I'm going to sacrifice the airplane to save the pilot. That's really what you're trying to do in an emergency situation. You're okay sacrificing a machine. Machines can be rebuilt, they can be repaired, they can be replaced. Individuals cannot. So he did everything right in this case. It's just fascinating to watch. Let's watch that video again, that little clip of his takeoff and engine failure, and focus on how quickly it happens and how Ben reacts to that. And just to illustrate how tremendously well he handled this, check out this little clip from after the impact.
I'm okay.
Now, not only has Ben been flying this particular airplane for about 5 years, he's got some time in it, but he's flown into and out of this exact strip dozens of times. It's not an official runway. It's basically the lawn at somebody's house on a farm. So it's about 1,100 feet long, which is longer than Ben's home field. It's plenty big enough for a Kolb 103 to land in and take off from. He's comfortable with this setup. The problem that caused this engine failure wasn't one of preparation or planning or Ben's skill. He did a great job. It turned out to be a minor mechanical failure in a fuel pump that starved the engine of fuel. It just wasn't going to run anymore. And it happened at the worst possible time. He's low. He's slow. He's only 40 or 50 feet off the ground, departing this short strip, and he loses the engine when the last of the runway is behind him. Now, anyone who's flown something like a Kolb Firefly, a lot of the experimental aircraft, it was true of the Aircam I used to own, twin engine experimental. There's an awful lot hanging out in the breeze. Fixed gear, wing struts. The engine is in a pusher configuration mounted behind the wing, but it's exposed to the airflow. Many pilots will land aircraft like this with power, and that appears from this video that Ben is in the practice of landing with power. Here's a clip of Ben landing in this same strip just a short time before this accident occurred, and you can hear he's landing with power. You can hear the engine developing RPMs, and on short final, you can even hear him rev it up a little bit. A common thing when we just need a little extra speed to get to where we want to touch down. The clip also illustrates some of the emotional aspects of flying. It's just beautiful. Flying an aircraft like this in an environment like that and being able to land at a friend's house and land on an extended lawn. Just check this out. It is absolutely beautiful. All evidence suggests Ben is a top-notch pilot. He clearly has the ability to put the airplane down exactly where he wants it. He's in full control as he rolls out. Everything about this video shows that Ben really knows what he's doing. He really knows the aircraft, and he takes safety seriously. But after an enjoyable visit with some friends and just a beautiful rural setting, this happens. What impresses me so much about this video is it really illustrates that when the worst happens, in the worst possible place, we can handle it with grace and professionalism. We can come out the other side of this, maybe not smiling, but happy that everything worked out as well as it possibly could. As soon as the engine starts winding down, you can tell Ben realizes he's only got one option: land straight ahead. There's no chance he's going to turn around. There is no other place to go. He accepts the reality of his situation and he flies the airplane all the way down. He unloads the wing immediately. You can see him go forward on the stick. That reduces his angle of attack. It reduces the weight being held up by the wing. It reduces the chances of that horrible, horrible stall that can happen when people just don't want to accept, I've lost my engine and this aircraft's not going to fly very far. He goes ahead and just unloads the wing, goes straight ahead, and controls the aircraft right down into the corn stalks. A high drag airframe like the Kolb is going to slow down very rapidly once power is lost, especially when he's nose high and trying to climb at a slow airspeed. That's what's going to happen to your Cessna or your Piper or your Cirrus as well. You don't have a lot of time when you've lost your power. Pitching forward and doing everything you can to maintain that airspeed, that's the key to maintaining control. I'm just so impressed. This guy accepted what was happening to him, pitches over, maintains airspeed as best he can, and prepares for an emergency landing into those corn stalks that are 8-9 feet high. Avoiding that stall where people hesitate or don't want to accept what's happening or just want to get a little farther and they try and stretch their glide, that can lead to a stall and potentially a spin, and that can be unsurvivable. By accepting what's happening and pitching over and just dealing with the fact that I'm about to make an emergency landing into a place I really don't want to make an emergency landing, well, that's the best outcome we can possibly have here. And by doing that, he really did preserve his own life and prevent himself from being seriously injured. All of that combines to what I consider to be a relatively happy ending to this. And yes, I do think it's a happy ending. Granted, the aircraft is damaged, but in a situation like that, if the pilot can conduct himself in such a way that they maintain control of the aircraft, bring it in for a successful emergency landing, and walk away unhurt, that's the best you're going to get. And he did a great job of that. When you watch this video and not just hear the engine wind down, but you focus on Ben's reaction and his reaction time. He deals with the situation well and doesn't give up. He continues flying the airplane. In fact, he flies the airplane all the way down to the landing. He even flares into the top of the corn stalks so that he's going as slow as he possibly can as the airplane settles down into those obstructions and comes to a fairly rapid stop. The only real difference between the landing Ben made on the way into this grass strip and the emergency landing he made on the way out, on the way in, he was under full control. He touched down right where he wanted to. He rolled out under complete control and came to a stop right where he wanted to. On the way out, he lost his engine, but he maintained control. He flew the airplane right down to the emergency landing and stuck with it all the way through. He never gave up. Now, the Firefly paid a high price for this, and of course, Ben's going to have a repair bill to deal with this airplane if he chooses to rebuild it. But walking away is a big, big deal, and he did that just beautifully.
I'm all right, guys. I'm okay.
Any one of us could look at this exact scenario and say, I really hope that if that happened to me, I would handle it as well as Ben did. All in all, I think Ben did this as well as it can possibly be done. And we can all learn from this. I'm so thankful that he posted this. It is well worth seeing. He doesn't just show the accident. He also talks through his thought process and what was going through his mind and why he was thinking what he was thinking. His knowledge of the Kolb and its power plant and how it flew all came to play in helping him make a really good decision really rapidly and then execute on that decision. I've had 3 engine failures over the course of my career, 2 complete, 1 partial, but I've always been in the position where I could deal with it and put it down on a piece of pavement somewhere. I never had to deal with what Ben did. And I'm just so impressed that with literally just the couple seconds he has to deal with it, he did it so well. Believe me, I've got complete respect, just unbelievable admiration for any pilot who faces a situation this serious and deals with it this well. We should all be so well trained, and I honestly hope you never face this situation or even anything like this situation. But we do practice engine outs, whether we're a sport pilot or a private pilot or commercial. We think about this. Generally, we practice this at altitude, where we've got some time and some glide distance to find a good field. Ben's situation is unique in the sense that there really is no time to look around. There isn't any glide distance. He doesn't have any options. He can go straight ahead or he can really make it bad. And he made the right decision right off the bat. Let me encourage you to go check out Ben's channel on YouTube. He's got other videos there. They're interesting and they're good, but this particular video has such tremendous educational value, and it doesn't matter if you're flying a Part 103 ultralight or a Bonanza or a Cirrus. This is the kind of thing we all hope never happens to us. This is the kind of thing we're tested on when we go for our practical test and we'll do an engine out. But this is the worst thing that could happen in the worst possible place, and it can be handled well. Even if you were flying a bigger airplane, going into those corn stalks is the option in this condition. And it can be a survivable thing, provided, like Ben, you pitch over rapidly, you unload the wing, you commit to landing straight ahead, and just accept the fact this isn't going to be the landing you were planning on, but this is the landing you're left with. So do it the best you can possibly do it. Ben did great. I hope you'll go check out his channel and show him some love. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. And thank you to the rest of you watching Mad Props Aero. I appreciate you being here today, and I hope you really got something out of this video. I sure did.